The life of Elijah, one of the most powerful prophets in the Bible, offers incredible lessons for Christians today. His journey was filled with challenges, miracles, and divine intervention, and through it all, Elijah shows us how to live with unwavering faith, deep trust, and absolute belief in God's power. Let's explore 5 key lessons we can learn from Elijah's story. The first lesson from Elijah's life is faith in the face of opposition. Elijah stood boldly against King Ahab and the 450 prophets of Baal. At a time when Israel had turned to idolatry, Elijah confronted the king and challenged the false prophets, knowing that only the true God could prove his power. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Elijah's faith in God's ability to act was unshakable. This moment teaches us that when we face opposition or pressure to conform, we must stand firm in our faith. God's power can silence even the loudest voices of opposition. When we trust in Him, we don't need to fear what others say or do. God will fight for us. The second lesson is God provides in every season. During Elijah's time in the wilderness, when the land experienced a drought, he was completely dependent on God. But God didn't leave him without provision. Elijah was fed by ravens who brought him bread and meat twice a day. Later, God sent Elijah to a widow who had nothing, but through her, God miraculously ensured that her oil and flour never ran out. This teaches us that even in our most desperate times, God is faithful to provide for our needs. When we trust Him, even in barren seasons, He will make a way. It might not always look like what we expect, but His provision is always sufficient. The third lesson is prayer moves mountains. Elijah's prayer life was a powerful testament to the effectiveness of prayer. On Mount Carmel, he prayed for God to reveal His power, and God answered by sending fire from heaven. Later, after a long drought, Elijah prayed for rain, and God brought a torrential downpour. Elijah's prayers were simple, yet powerful, because he believed that God could do the impossible. Prayer is a powerful tool that connects us with the Almighty, and when we pray with faith, mountains can be moved. Don't be discouraged if answers don't come immediately. Trust that God is always listening and acting according to His will. The fourth lesson is God's power is greater than any fear. After his great victory over the prophets of Baal, Elijah faced a serious threat from Queen Jezebel, who vowed to kill him. Fear overcame Elijah and he fled to the wilderness, feeling isolated and alone. But God didn't rebuke Elijah for his fear. Instead, He comforted him and reminded him of His power. In our own lives, fear can often cloud our judgment and make us feel small. But Elijah's story reminds us that God's power is greater than any fear. When fear arises, we must remind ourselves that God is with us and more powerful than anything we might face. God can give us the strength to overcome fear and move forward with confidence. The final lesson is God's timing is perfect. After Elijah fled into the wilderness, he found himself in a cave, feeling completely abandoned. In the midst of his discouragement, God revealed Himself not through a loud, dramatic event like a storm or earthquake, but through a quiet whisper. This moment was a reminder that God's presence isn't always in the noise and chaos, it's often in the stillness. God's timing is always perfect, even when we don't understand it. Elijah had been through intense trials, yet at just the right moment, God spoke to him in the quiet, reassuring him that He was still in control. God's timing is never late. When we wait on Him, He will reveal Himself to us in His perfect time. These lessons are not just for Elijah, they are for us today. If this story has inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more motivational lessons from the Bible. Leave a comment below. What lesson from Elijah's life are you applying to your own? We'd love to hear from you.